The reason TripWorks is so great is it was built by tour operators who are focused on growth. From customer acquisition to reporting, everything is in your hands. Anything from sales enablement tools like abandoned cart and customer marketing, all the way to data transparency. Managing your bookings and manifests on TripWorks is seamless. If I have to cancel or update a schedule, I can automatically ask customers to reschedule on their own. And this is especially powerful for high dollar tours, never having to process a refund or anything like that. TripWorks is also extremely easy for customers. Customers can reschedule their visits or their tours because of weather, their own schedule, or anything else without ever contacting the tour operator. A team of former tour operators who knows what it's like to be in the trenches of peak season across multiple locations. If you have a problem running a 5 a.m. cave tour, you don't have to get in a chatbot line of 15,000 customers. You call your customer rep directly and they have a solution for you. If you want more than a booking platform, if you want the most advanced operating system for tours and attractions and a team that can back it up, that's TripWorks.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining today's webinar. I want to thank you for your time, especially in your busy schedule that I know you have as axe throwing venue owners. Wanted to bring on one of our favorite clients today, someone who, along with his wife at US Axe, is really leading the way for us in terms of our vision with AxeWorks and kind of the product feature set that we're building there on top of TripWorks. Dustin is someone we've worked with for years now. We've kind of seen the growth of his business into multiple locations. And he's someone that I could talk to as a friend, talk ideas about business, and wanted to bring him on this webinar to really talk about his background, his keys to building the success that US Axe is, and then kind of his background and his motivation behind some of the decisions he makes in business. So I won't go too much further with introducing Dustin, but I'll let him kind of give a brief intro, and then we'll have kind of a conversation about his business.
Yeah, so thanks everybody for joining. I appreciate you, Caleb, and TripWorks family to do this and bring me on. My name's Dustin Knight. I own United States Axe with my wife, Nikki Knight. And a lot of you may know me. I'm at a lot of tournaments, and I was on ESPN for the knife throwing championship, and I'm very competitive in the field, in the throwing field, and trying to run my empire at the same time as some of you do the same thing as well. And we know it gets tough, and TripWorks has been an integral part of our automation. Because at the end of the day, we are an e-commerce business. I mean, 90% of our bookings are online, and having that peace of mind that TripWorks has our back and that's running smoothly, and we see those bookings come in, and we know how to staff. Since we know what bookings are coming in, we know how to staff our places and who needs to be there for the busy times and who we can put on the not so busy times. And, TripWorks saves us a lot in that regards as far as operational costs with payroll, which for most of us, payroll is the one of the biggest expenses that we have, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's variable.
And you don't want to overstaff. You feel like you're wasting that payroll. You're definitely don't want to do that. So we try to manage that payroll pretty tight, and TripWorks helps tremendously because we see who's coming in. And
yeah. And US Axe is one of, we're still a newer company. We started TripWorks in 2018, really brought it to market in 2020. And US Axe was kind of in that set of the first 50 to 100 clients that used us. So really the reason we're at today, where we are with deciding to go forward with AxeWorks and really focus on features for axe throwing, is because of clients like you guys who have always been friendly on the phone, always willing to give us pointers, and not being shy to kind of say this would be better this way, or this would be awesome if you had this feature. US Axe, Nikki and Dustin, they are clients that I visited at Fargo last year. People I've spent time with, even in their giant US Axe branded limo. So we're super appreciative of them, and we're going to dive into TripWorks. But before we do any of that with features, Dustin and I spoke the other day kind of about his motivation behind his business, his philosophy about kind of competing with yourself, and how he brings his axe throwing motivation and professional career in axe throwing into his business philosophy. So, Dustin, if you wouldn't mind just kind of diving into your journey. I know you have some military background, so I'd love to hear about how that has kind of helped you in business, and then diving into what the past 3 years have looked like at US Axe in terms of your philosophy and how that's guided the growth that you've seen.
Sure, I'd love to. Yeah, so I was active duty Army for 9 years, and when I got into axe throwing, I like a lot of people, I found it. We stumbled in, Nikki and myself stumbled into a venue and had a blast, and it really reminded me of a weapons range in the military. And it was Nikki's idea to bring it to our town, and I hadn't even thought about it, which is odd because I'm always trying to think of business ideas. I used to own a gym, and so axe throwing just was a natural fit. And then of course I love throwing, so throwing was kind of a therapy for me. I shouldn't say kind of, it was my therapy. I loved just throwing and walking back and forth. It's like, instead of pacing, I'm pacing 12 feet back and forth throwing an axe. So and then I started challenging myself, how many bullseyes in a row could I hit, and decided to jump into a tournament with the World Axe Throwing League. And I went to another veteran-owned venue in Springfield, Missouri, called Tommy Hawk's, and saw their operation. It looked very similar, and I was like, okay, I'm not alone here. This is cool. And I saw the success that they were having and running multiple venues, and it motivated me even more. And I ended up getting third in that first tournament and got my first custom axe. I got a check, and I thought, wow, I can be a professional thrower. Maybe I can make this more of a thing to connect to my business, right? Like, gives me that edge. If there ever was competition, I'm going to be the best, whether it be business or throwing. And I brought that philosophy from day one. And as we grew, we had started out with another company that was doing just fine, but as we were growing, we started seeing, hey, we don't have waiver integration, and we looked for that. That was a big deal, especially as we started growing our numbers, and then we added locations. And I was telling you this yesterday, Caleb, like, success leaves clues. So I was looking for what the largest axe throwing venues were using that had multiple locations and had high volume. And I kept coming across TripWorks, and you actually gave Nikki a call before we ever reached out to you, which was, fortuitous. Like, we were already thinking about it. And our biggest thing was, we can't have any downtime in our e-commerce business. We're getting bookings 24/7. If our website's down for an hour, we could be losing money. If our booking service is down. And we answer all phone calls across all locations. So reducing, TripWorks was integrated almost immediately. There was no downtime. It was very minimal, if I can recall. The downtime was very minimal. And integrating the waiver system, just kind of cut down on some of the logistics that we were dealing with. And you guys have been willing to work with us every step of the way, adding new features and being able to be as flexible as we were growing, which is cool because you guys are growing as well. And the other company that we're with is a large company, and they're not as willing to do that, because why would we do that for one client when it's working fine for everybody else? We're good.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I would say, the waiver system, that's one feature in particular among, I'm sure, 2 or 3 more that we really did build for the current axe throwing clients that were on the system at the time. So we have full electronic waivers integrated into the system. You can have connected tablets, connected iPads to your TripWorks waiver system, so that if a customer comes in and they haven't noticed any of the automatic reminders that have been sent out, you can send it to a tablet in real time, or show them a QR code, or even just turn your tablet around that you're using to check in guests to have them fill it out. And we were talking about, I love that line, success leaves clues. And it really is important as you're trying to take that step in business where you've established yourself as a successful business, but you're really trying to figure out that time hurdle of getting to that second location or making that big jump. And sometimes that leap feels like a giant leap. And I think that's due to the fact that a lot of operations, especially axe throwing venues, are run by a husband, wife, or partners running the business, and they're picking up the phones all day. So what you said about 90% of business is e-com, and your ability to scale is all based on your ability to take more bookings via e-commerce. I think that's really true, and something that we've focused on, especially with things like abandoned carts, our customer rebooking system that we implemented last year. So I think you got it spot on. And if you wouldn't mind kind of going into the abandoned cart system on TripWorks and how that kind of helped you guys when you started off, especially during COVID, would love to get some color on that.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that feature too. Like that abandoned cart feature, we can see how much money it's made us. And when we spoke about switching over, cost wasn't even in the conversation, I don't believe. But you guys have not only saved us the overall cost, even if we didn't make $1, TripWorks saved us off the top from not only your service, but the waiver integration. But then we saw the abandoned cart feature was we were getting emails. We're getting emails almost daily where somebody had went online, got busy, and got reminded, hey, you had this going. Can we get you back in? And we're seeing that. I just got another email that converted another $400 sale, and those are things that's an asset. TripWorks has become a money-making asset. That's not a expense by any means. And as we're scaling, our phone calls are getting less and less, and the bookings are still coming in, and we're not having to be interrupted from what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just great that it's that automated, and we get to see it in real time. And yeah, it becomes after last year, I believe that last year abandoned cart alone was upwards of $6,000 or $7,000.
Yeah, without lifting a finger too, which is
without lifting a finger.
Awesome. Yeah. And the cool thing, after we built the abandoned cart system, we first built it with the ability to actually see the customers that abandoned their checkout, which we thought was super cool. It wasn't something anybody else had. They would have abandoned cart systems, but you would get no control over seeing them or customizing the email templates that send out. But then we took it one step further and we're like, let's make this kind of a motivational feature. Let's let venue owners get notifications when an abandoned cart comes in with the customer's name and phone number. Let's add reporting around it so it's kind of gamified. And I think that's my favorite part of that feature. And then, like you said, I know we talked a bit about it yesterday. A lot of small businesses have a hard time getting comfortable with paying for systems or paying for booking fees. So they end up staying on kind of prehistoric systems that don't really have a lot of features. They don't save any money off the top, and they don't create really much value at all. So I know we spoke a little bit about that yesterday, and I'm sure you had some hesitation yourself when you started your business to kind of jump with a leap of faith into complex systems and systems that charge booking fees. But if you could kind of explain and rehash like your thoughts around jumping from pen and paper to a platform like TripWorks, that would be awesome.
Yeah, so you hit all my points there. This system has been, huge to a huge part of our growth and our success for those reasons. Like it's not a cost, it's become an asset. And when you said, hey, the downtime and the support, it was all there and it was so seamless that it made that decision for us a no-brainer. We were really stressed out about it because we remember when we integrated another system and you guys just knocked that out of the park. And then, another thing that I wanted to touch on, I just got another email, so it's fresh on my mind. We're getting reviews before we haven't got almost any bad reviews whatsoever, but the bad reviews we have gotten, TripWorks catches them before they hit Google, and we're able to reach out to those people and get them back in and take care of them. For whatever reason, valid or not, it's making us better as venue owners, and that's just huge. And those customers actually turn into 5-star reviews after that, and it's really saved our online reputation. And that's what we're all trying to do. And the TripWorks is a lot easier than like the Google review because it's automatic. It's everybody's filling out a review, right? Like make it really easy, put it in front of their face. Sometimes people don't want to take that extra step to go on to Google unless they're prompted or given something. So we're able to reach out to all the reviews and ask them for, we'll follow up with them, because there's another thing I like to repeat to our team members, and Nikki and myself say it all the time. The fortune is in the follow-up. And
that's another good line.
The devil's in the details, but people 80% of your business, new customer acquisition is really the biggest cost that you don't see. It's hard to get people in your door. And some places are high volume and big markets, and we're not. So when we get those people into our web, TripWorks helps us curate the follow-ups and take care of them. So we have people coming back, 15, 20 plus times. And those are not even lead members, or some of our lead members come every day. And that follow-up process that TripWorks helped us automate, make a lot easier, instead of looking at the waiver system and getting those stuff, and then that can take you all day. That's like data entry.
Waivers can be a big headache.
So you guys have made that system work to flawlessly, and that is, we've been to plenty of other axe houses, and the ones that are following up with us still to this day, when we get emails and follow-ups and stuff, we know who's paying attention and we know who's doing it right, and we feel good about that. And I want, at first when we were talking about doing this webinar, it's I'm not competing with anybody in my state, even in my direct market, especially out of state. And I want to help my fellow venue owners implement some of these easy things that will literally pay off for them on day one, and give them that competitive advantage in their market. Even if I happen to come to their market, that's fine. Everybody gets better that way.
Yeah, at the end of the day, axe throwing venues are still a relatively new thing, and the sport of axe throwing is still, I think, at the beginning of its life cycle. So we had a good conversation yesterday about you're not really competing with anybody else, even if they're local. You're all really working together to try and kind of bring the heart and soul of your community to axe throwing and introduce them to it. There's plenty of people out there that haven't thrown an axe before. They'll just go bowling instead of going axe throwing. So I think that's a really good point you made. And the more marketing tools you have to capture that audience size is better for you.
Yeah, there's not a lot of businesses that you get any kind of follow-up with, impersonal or personal. Not a lot of businesses are following up, and that is the gold mine. That is the fortune that is in any small business or large business for that matter. If you follow up with somebody, they look at you different. You're paying attention, you care, you're on top of it, and like I said, you guys have made that process so easy, and keeping in touch with people that we might have lost. They might have slipped through the cracks.
Yeah, definitely. And we've been along for kind of the ride of your business, which has been awesome to see how successful you guys have been. And we've been in person, we've met you guys, thrown axes with you guys, sponsored events. So kind of the last open-ended question I had for you before we go into some quick questions is how do you compare a TripWorks customer support team or the support level of TripWorks to a big company, maybe like Square or a Fair Harbor, that might have 16,000 clients in a chatbot line? How do you compare the two?
Oh, there's no comparison. And I know that you guys are growing exponentially, and that support has never wavered. We haven't seen any growing pains with that, because usually that's what happens, right? Like, support starts off great at the beginning, and then as you guys get busier, it gets tougher, until you fix those growing pains. But that support has been top notch from the first day you gave us a call until today. And you guys are busier than ever. We're busier than ever. And again, that just gives us the peace of mind. If anything goes wrong, I know it's getting fixed right away. I'm getting on the line with one of your techs, or you personally, and it's getting handled. And then we don't see a lot of repeat problems, Caleb. Like some of the other issues we've had with other companies is, yeah, they'll fix the issue, and even maybe even in a timely manner, but it didn't feel personal. It felt like they were trying to check a box, and that same issue would happen again.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's frustrating. That makes you feel like, okay, someone's not paying attention to me, because that's everybody's biggest question, right? Like, what's in it for me? And you guys make us feel like that. And I haven't heard some of your conversations with Nikki, but she gets heated when something goes wrong, because she's got a lot going on, And
yeah, definitely.
You guys are one of those stress-free. There's no pain point there, and you guys are, in my opinion, a larger asset to our growth than any brick and mortar location could be.
Yeah, and we appreciate that. The number one motivator for us to kind of keep developing the platform towards our customers is hearing good reviews from them. So when you mentioned things like smart reviews before, that's actually a feature that sometimes as a TripWorks employee we forget about. Like, we created so many of these features that some of them just we don't even think about marketing them,
Because they're automatic.
Yeah, it always feels good when you hear like good feedback on a feature you forgot that you implemented in the past. So we appreciate kind of your recommendations to other owners to check us out and use us, and appreciate kind of giving us a rundown of the things you've enjoyed on TripWorks and how it's helped you really grow your business, especially in hard times like we saw in COVID for indoor venues. So we're gonna go into some quick Q&As here, but before we do that, just want to let Dustin close with what's next for United States Axe, and then what's next in terms of their planning for league tournaments like Far Throw coming up in July.
Yeah, so we're gonna expand our tournament series as we franchise nationwide, and there's another thing I gotta plug TripWorks again. This is another reason we saw the future. Like we knew we wanted a franchise, and your guys, we can add 1,000 locations tomorrow, and they'd all be operational on with our booking software. The franchise fees would automatically come out, so the franchisee doesn't even see the fee.
Yep. Eliminate collections.
Eliminate collections and make it automatic, so you can focus on what's important. Helping make those venues successful. So even before we franchise, we had that in mind. And when I talk to other venues about what they use, I get a lot of feedback. They tell us what's great and why they don't want to switch, or they're fine and this and that. And I sold business to business for Verizon. You can give somebody the best offer in the world, or something that's really going to change their business as far as processes go, and actually make them money, but they just see the cost. Like, what's it going to cost? Well,
Hmm.
your bill might go up $100, but you're not going to miss any more calls. So what is a call worth to you? And that's the conversation I'm trying to have. And I think we have, you know, egos come into play.
Hmm.
Everybody wants to be right, but a lot of people don't. They want to get it right, and
Hmm.
they want to get it right, and they see that we have been getting a lot of things right, and we paid a lot to get those right. If I'm
Hmm.
honest, I wish we would have had a consultant or somebody telling us these things, so we didn't have to. Because experience, remember we were talking about, costs and all this.
Yeah.
Experience is the number one cost for any business. Like, pay a consultant, pay for the right thing. You'll never be disappointed, by going with something more, that might look more expensive up front. And TripWorks definitely does not. Like,
Hmm.
TripWorks was not, but if I would have known now what I knew then, like, you guys really could have charged me a lot more. I appreciate that you didn't, but like I said, for an asset so valuable, um, like I said, I if one of our venues, caught fire tomorrow, as long as I got TripWorks, I know I'll go put up targets in the park and keep taking
And we'd
bookings.
probably be in North Dakota tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I would literally put mobile targets up in a park and keep TripWorks going and getting bookings.
Hmm.
And we've actually done that before. Our St. Cloud venue wasn't ready for action, and we had a lot of pre-bookings, and we were like, okay, do we refund their money, try and rebook them because we're not ready? Nikki said, nope. We moved two mobile targets in the back of our venue. We had no heat. The electricity was just like construction lights,
Hmm.
and we had no heat. And this is like October in
Yeah, those are the
Minnesota.
stories you look back on too as you're building your business. Those are the good times.
And those people had a blast. Like, we had some prominent business owners in the community, and everybody had a blast. It wasn't up to our standards. Obviously, we wanted to set the
Hmm.
table better, be more ready. But like, we had good music on, we had a good vibe, and everybody just had fun. That was one of the funnest nights we've ever had. So, um,
That's
but that,
awesome.
but like I said, the booking software behind that was what made that day happen. You know,
Yeah, definitely, especially with like communicating on the fly if there's stuff coming up or cancellations or changes. So,
yeah, man. People
um,
want ease, like easy. And
mhm.
when we run through, I don't know if you know this either, Caleb, but before we went with you, we went to a website that uses TripWorks, and we booked, and we went through the whole booking system. We
Yeah,
went through from start to finish what that looks like, and um, it was just easy. And we are like, okay, this is it. This is what our customers go through. I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying?
hmm, yeah, I've talked to a couple long-term clients that we have now, and they say the same thing. Like, um, it's either I talk to a friend that's using TripWorks and I trust them, so like they're ready to go, and then they're thrilled with it a year later. or it's I went through the booking widget myself and spent $50 to try it out, and loved it. And that's just kind of a credit to our CEO and our founding team's plan to make this a more modern booking solution and something that's really focused on the customer. Like we look at a lot of Steve Jobs stuff early on at his days in Apple. And one of the things he always said was you got to focus on the customer first. You don't try and just sell something. You focus on the customer. You keep focusing on the customer and keep developing your product towards their needs. So it's always good to hear good feedback from you guys, especially because we're pretty close, and we'll be out there in July again this year. For anybody that is interested in Farthrow, Dustin, could you tell us the dates of Farthrow this year and where they can go and sign up?
Yeah, so we're running a nice little axe throwing tournament. We ran it last year. It was a blast. You know, TripWorks, Caleb, you were there. You know, we saw it. It was fun.
It was great.
And we're going to do that again in July this time. We did it in end of September last year. It was just starting to get cold, but it was still decent weather. And this year we're going to do it when it's a lot warmer and nicer in Fargo. And, you know, the city's going to be all over it this year. And people are going to see downtown Fargo in all its glory. And we're also going to do it in the same Fargo billiards venue. So it's not typical, you know, tournament goers. We're used to going into, you know, a lot of the same axe houses, but most of us work or go to axe houses all the time. So we thought, let's do it in this really cool venue where there's all kinds
really
of other
is an
stuff
awesome
to do.
venue, yeah.
And we hang out there all the time, and we were just sitting there one day and said, why don't we do it in here? And then the bar owner was like, absolutely, I would love that. They run pool tournaments and dart tournaments and cornhole. Like they do a lot of volleyball tournaments, so they were stoked to have us there for that. And so we're going to do it again. They're all on board, and we're going to add more targets this year because we're anticipating being a lot bigger. And stay tuned.
Yeah, great. We're looking forward to it. I know we're going to have a couple of staff members down there, and we're going to be sponsoring it again this year. And just talking to axe throwing venues, a lot of which are using TripWorks now, and we're developing features for them through AxeWorks this year. So if anybody watching this is interested in getting more information on Farthrow this year, I believe it's July 27th through the 30th. And I saw on your website, Dustin, there's a link to sign up right through there. So if anybody's interested on this call, you can go right to their site. But wanted to thank you again for your time, Dustin, today. And we're going to leave it there.
Sorry, I forgot to add. You know, Farthrow will be. It was televised. The finals were televised last year. We got more TV time added this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah, we're excited about that. There's going to be more live TV time. So what we're doing for the venue owners, we did the same thing last year. You know, venue owners that sent multiple throwers our way, and even came themselves. You know, they were getting plugged on TV, and they were getting signage up, and you know, we didn't charge anything for that. We just appreciate their support. And you know, right now the market size of Fargo is decent, but we're going to add more markets to watch this because, you know, it did well last year, and you know, TV's interested. That's why it's on ESPN. But I believe the World Axe Throwing League pays for that right. We don't pay for the right to be on TV. They asked us. They wanted to show this, so we're gonna show.
Yeah, you guys have such a rich network of fun people and fun axe throwing venue owners. Like, if I could give one piece of advice from an outsider's perspective, if you're a new venue owner, really from anywhere in the country, get yourself involved with the US Axe community. There's so many brilliant owners in that group that are so willing to share on their success, like Dustin is, about things that have worked for them, things they've tripped up on in the past trying to build their business. But get involved. It's such a good community, and it's really unique to the axe throwing community.
Yeah, we've dropped this knowledge for people even in our immediate market. You know, we've consulted with them and helped them for free. Like we didn't charge anything, and people are like, "Oh, you probably should have," and whatever. But the more important thing is those venues have success, and when they get throwers in front of their targets, that they're falling in love with the sport, joining league, joining tournaments. Like that's how you grow something. And
Hmm.
I don't want people to keep figuring out what we had to figure out and paid a lot for to figure out on our own. And that's what we're doing. We'll do that for anybody. You know, like I'm not getting paid for this webinar. I would
Yeah.
talk. I would talk. I've had these conversations with many people in the community. So um, it's great what you guys are doing, and I appreciate your support as always.
Yeah, likewise. We appreciate your support too. We cannot wait for July to be out there in Fargo. And yeah, just wanted to say thank you again, and thank you to everyone joining this webinar. If you have any questions or follow-up for us, you can contact me. I'm the director of sales here at TripWorks, kind of one of the pioneers behind our plan for AxeWorks and developing that feature set for this year for axe throwing. And then Dustin Knight is the co-owner of US Axe in Fargo, North Dakota. And you can contact him by going through their website. Their contact info is right in there. So thanks again, Dustin. And thank you guys for joining. Looking forward to getting on demos with you guys, getting on calls, and showing you the platform. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Caleb.